Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
The owner of a Fargo contracting business that went bust and took thousands of dollars from customers has been barred from doing business in North Dakota and has to pay people back. Today, the Attorney General said Studs to Rugs owner Timothy Rosine cannot do business in the state for the next 5 years. He's been ordered to pay back roughly $122,000 in restitution to the people he ripped off. He also has to pay more than $12,000 to the state in penalties and fees. In October of 2017, Rosine was investigated for taking money from clients and never doing the work, even though he knew he wouldn't be able to complete it. Coming up tonight on Valley News Live, we'll hear from some of Rosine's victims and learn how they feel about today's news. For more on the lawsuit against him, you can go to our website and click on this story. After 2 years of investigation, a redacted version of the Mueller report is finally out, and it's posted on the special counsel's website. The Attorney General says it found no evidence of collusion or obstruction by the President of the United States. Nicole Killian is at the White House with more on what's in the report, as well as reaction from the President and Democrats.
This hoax, this should never happen to another president again.
President Trump hailed the Mueller report as it went public.
No collusion, no obstruction. There never was, by the way, and there never will be.
The 400-page report was delivered to Congress on a CD-ROM. Nearly 2 hours after Attorney General William Barr laid out the findings.
The special counsel confirmed that the Russian government sponsored efforts to illegally interfere with the 2016 presidential election, but did not find that the Trump campaign or other Americans colluded in those efforts.
But on the issue of obstruction, the report noted if we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the president did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. However, we are unable to reach that judgment.
The report points to 10 episodes of possible obstruction, including the president's firing of FBI Director James Comey, and it suggests the president tried to seize control of the Russia probe.
When the president found out a special counsel had been appointed, he told then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency." The report adds, at one point, the president directed then White House counsel Don McGahn to call the acting attorney general and say Mueller must be removed because of conflicts of interest. Democrats want the full unredacted report and to hear from Mueller directly.
I think it was probably written with the intent of providing Congress a roadmap.
Attorney General Barr says he will allow congressional leaders to see a less redacted version of the report. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Attorney General Barr is scheduled to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee next month. If you would like to see the full report, go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story. And there's more reaction to today's release of the Mueller report. Valley News Live's chief national political analyst, Greta Van Susteren, calls it a great read for the American public. In an exclusive interview with Valley News team's Mike Morkin, Van Susteren says the criminal phase is over and it's time to move into the political phase, which will continue into next year's presidential campaign.
I'll tell you is that the Democrats are going to hit the president over the head with this, with all the stuff in it that is not attractive to the president. And meanwhile, the Republicans are going to do the flip. They're going to say, you know, look at how great this report is, that this was a hoax, a witch hunt.
You can catch the entire interview by going to valleynewslive.com. We are on a roll with the nice weather. Let's hope it stays that way for a while, or at least through the evening. Hutch, what do you think about that?
I think that sounds like a good plan. Very quiet conditions here in the Red River Valley and western Minnesota, although we see a few clouds and exiting showers in the central portions of North Dakota. It looks like there's no threatening weather as we head into the evening. Your temperatures are close to 60 degrees in Jamestown and Roseau. Not a bad night. Now, that Red River at Pembina still has not crested, and it's on its way to a crest of over 50 feet as we go into early next week. However, the Maple River at Mapleton is expected to decline from its current level, and in Fargo, our river will cross back into major flood stage, over 30 feet as we go through the weekend into early next week. Tonight, though, nothing to worry about. Nary a cloud in the sky, temperatures in the 40s. Grand Forks, likewise, it looks very quiet. I have some great weather, Andrea, to tell you about as we go into the weekend and head towards Easter. We'll do just that, talk about a chance of some showers as well in a moment.
We like the sounds of that. Thanks.
I do too.
Yeah. A child who was critically injured in a two-vehicle crash last month has been transferred from the intensive care unit. Brandon Devine is the 5-year-old who was injured in a crash on 13th Avenue South and University Drive in Fargo last March. He has now been moved from the ICU, although he is still in the hospital. His brother, Jason Devine, died after suffering injuries in the same crash. The father, Christopher Devine, has been charged with 1 count of criminal vehicular homicide and 2 counts of criminal vehicular injury. A man was shot and killed by police in Minnesota early this morning after he fled during a routine traffic stop. The Coon Rapids police chief said the incident happened around 1:30. There was an exchange of gunfire. The man was not hurt and ran away. Police found him about 30 minutes later, and that's when more gunfire was exchanged.
Initial information indicates that the suspect posed an immediate threat to the law enforcement officers, and they were forced to engage the suspect with deadly force in order to stop that threat. The suspect did die at the scene and a handgun was located.
4 police departments helped with the search efforts, including the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. Police say none of the officers were shot. There was also a passenger in the car at the time who the BCA now considers a witness. 2 people are in jail after a hit and run turned into a police chase in Jamestown. It happened around 8 Wednesday evening at the local Walmart. A car reportedly hit a parked car and left the scene. Police tried to make a traffic stop, but the car took off. That started this slower chase that you're seeing. Deputies eventually set up spike strips on Highway 20 and the car went into a field. 27-year-old Yolanda Two Hearts of Fort Totten and 27-year-old Brittany Reyes of Fargo were arrested for shoplifting, fleeing officers, and outstanding warrants. Police say the women stole over $1,000 worth of merchandise. When it comes to our children's education, as parents, we want the best. But do you know what that is? When it comes to technology versus textbooks, Valley News Team's education reporter, Veronica Marshall, says you might want to press pause before buying the latest gadgets.
I've always loved reading. I grew up just surrounded by books.
Amy Soma loved books so much, she grew up to become a librarian.
Part of it is in my DNA. I think anybody who's known me my whole life would say they saw this coming when I was pretty young.
Now, libraries are changing, with more screens like laptops, tablets, and e-readers moving in.
Students are fascinated with technology, so if you use it well, it can be very engaging to them. It helps keep them kind of focused on task.
My daughter has been actually really into this ebook series where you get through it and then you get to a new ebook.
But new research says this digital shift isn't always best practice. Virginia Clinton, a UND researcher, analyzed studies comparing student comprehension after reading from traditional paper books to electronic reading devices. And she found paper still holds an edge.
If you spend the amount of time reading from screens or paper, the amount you learn per minute, so to speak, is going to be a little bit better from paper than screens.
Clinton also found readers were overconfident in their skills when using electronic devices, which could have played a part in lowering their understanding. Still, she says that doesn't mean e-readers don't belong in education, but it does mean print and paper shouldn't go away anytime soon.
This is a complicated issue, and there are a lot of benefits of screens in terms of convenience and cost and adaptability, but you need to weigh those out with the benefits that paper might have as well.
Kids are still, especially our younger kids, are still enthusiastic about books in the library, print books. I have always kind of poo-pooed that notion that we would see the death of print in my lifetime.
Veronica Marshall, Valley News Live.
Clinton says all the studies used individuals who learned how to read using paper. So as more students start out with screens, the results may change. She says her next step will be to research the digital tools out there that can make screen reading more effective. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has signed a bill that will now let second cousins in on ownership of family farms. The anti-corporate farming law dates back to 1932 when it was put on the ballot as an initiated measure and approved by voters. It allows corporations with as many as 15 shareholders to own farms or ranches as long as the shareholders are related. The North Dakota Farmers Union, the state's largest farm group, has opposed the measure. The group says adding more relatives who can legally form a corporation or a limited liability corporation weakens the law. It is finally starting to warm up outside, and already we're seeing and hearing about a lot of construction. That's why the Southwest metro area is coming together to attempt to answer everyone's construction questions. Officials from the cities of Fargo, West Fargo, and Horace, along with the North Dakota Department of Transportation, gathered under one roof earlier today to help the public keep up with the latest construction updates.
Pretty much the entire FM area, except for Moorhead, is involved with construction in this region of the metro. So it's busy, and that's where we want to have a lot of opportunity for coordination, collaboration, and getting outreach to the public.
The meetings will take place every other Friday following this week. To learn more, you can head to our website and click on this story. A nationwide crackdown